Rama Rama, Namaste everyone. Welcome you all to session 24 of Samskritasri Pathamala 1. Today we will learn the accusative case for the Dvitiya Vibhakti. Let us start with Mangala Shloka. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vikhnopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalasphटिकाकृतिम् Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Saraswati Namastestu Veena Pustakadharini Hamsavahanam Arudhe Vidyadanam Kurushvame. So the Subhashitam for today is Upakarishu Yah Sadhu Sadhutve Tasya Ko Gunaha Apakarishu Yah Sadhu Saha Sadhuriti Kirtitaha. What is the meaning? Upakaraha. Upakara means help. So those who do help, those who help us, of what use is one's goodness to do good to those who do good to him. So if we are good to somebody who helps us or who does good to us, then of what use is that? Apakarishu yaha sadhuhu sa sadhuriti kirtitaha. Not that it is not to belittle one who does good to those who do good to him, but it is more important and it is greater to be good to somebody who is not, or who has harmed you or who has done harm to you. He is a saint. This is the meaning of the Subhashitam. So in this we have Upakara Yaha Sadhu. Sadhu is a good person. It is used in two sense, in two meanings. One is a good deed or being good, and the other one is a saint. Sadhu Riti Kirtitaha. He is called a saint. Now today in Vyavaharika Shabdas, or those words which we are trying to learn, which we use in common usage for conversation, we will learn some words of time. The first one is how do you say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, etc. It is Eka Vadanam. In the last class we saw Ekam, Dve, Trini, Chatvari, Pancha, Shat, Sapta, Ashta, Nava, Dasha. We learned 1 to 10, the numerals. So you add them to the word Vadanam. You get 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, etc. But there are slight changes in the number words themselves. Eka is the same. Ekam becomes Eka. Eka Vadanam is 1 o'clock. Dvi Vadanam. Dve becomes Dvi. Dvivadanam. Trivadanam. Chaturvadanam. Panchavadanam. Shatvadanam. Saptavadanam. Ashtavadanam. Navavadanam. Dashavadanam. Then we have 11 and 12 as well. Ekadasha Vadanam, Dvadasha Vadanam. Eka is 1. So Eka 1 plus 10 is Ekadasha. So it is 11. Dvadasha is 2 plus 10, which is 12. So when you add Vadanam, it indicates time. Then we already know this. Adya is today. Hyaha is yesterday, and Shwaha is tomorrow. Now we go a step further and say Parahyaha and Parashwaha. Parahyaha is day before yesterday, and Parashwaha is day after tomorrow. Para is beyond. So beyond yesterday is day before yesterday. And Parashwaha is day after tomorrow. Agami is the coming. So in the coming week, Agami Saptahe. So we say Agami is coming month or coming week is used. The word Agami is used. Gata is past. So Gata Saptahe, Gata Varshe, in the last year, in the last week, etc. The previous year is referred to with the word Gata. Padona and Sapada. So when we have to say a quarter to, say 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, we say Padona Ekavadana. You add Padona in the beginning, then it means a quarter to that time. So it is 15 minutes before that time. That is Padona. And Sapada is 15 minutes later. So a quarter past is referred to with Sapada. So quarter to and quarter past are Pada. We saw in the Subhashitam, right? Acharyat Padamadatte. So in that Padam is quarter, is what we saw. So similarly here it is used in the sense of time. Padona Ekavadanam, Padona Dvivadanam, etc. Sardha, Ardha is half. Sa Ardha, together with half. So it is a half past sometimes. So Sardha Ekavadanam, Sardha Dvivadanam, etc. Saptaha means a week. Saptaha is week. Masaha is month. And there are 3 words for year, which are Varsham, Samvatsaraha, and or Vatsaraha. Varsham, Samvatsaraha, or Vatsaraha. And just quickly do this again. Ekavadanam, Dvivadanam, etc. are the words for 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, etc. Adya, Hyaha, Shvaha. These are today, yesterday, and tomorrow. Parahyaha is day before yesterday. Parashvaha is day after tomorrow. Agami is coming. Gata is last or the previous. Padona is a quarter to. Sapada is a quarter past. Sardha is half past. Saptaha is the week. Sapta is 7, right? So 7 days is what is meant by Saptaha. That makes a week. Masaha is month. Varsham, Samvatsaraha, and Vatsaraha. These are the words for year. Now we will straight away do Shabda Ratanam before we go to the Dvitiya Vibhakti. We'll do a quick revision of what we did earlier, then start Dvitiya Vibhakti. Somebody is willing to say the Ram Shabda from memory. Please raise your hand. Janavi Satish.
Ram Ram Ram.
Ram Ram. Namaste.
Namaste. Ma'am, Ramaha Ramau Ramaha Ramam Ramau Raman Ramena Ram. Yes.
Can you start with the title? That is Akarantaha.
Akarantaha Pullingaha Rama Shabdaha Ramaha Ramau Ramaha He Rama He Ramau He Ramaha Ramam Ramau Ramana Ramena Ramabhyam Ramaihi Ramaya Ramabhyam Ramebhyah Ramat Ramabhyam Ramebhyah Ramasya Ramayoho Ramanam Rame Ramayoho Rameshu. That's it.
Yes. Excellent. Dhanyavadaha. Chandrarekha Mantri. I hope you have memorized the shabdas which we learned in the last class. So if you can say from memory, it will be nice.
Shall I say for Ram or Sita?
Sita Shabd, because we have already learned.
Akarantah. Acha, namaste madam. Akarantah Sita Shabdah. Sita Site Sitaha. He Site He Site He Sitaha. Sita. Actually, I learned the second last. Sita Site Sitaha. Sitam Sitaha. My God. Sita Site Sitaha. Sita Site Sitaha. Sitam Site Sitaha. Sitaya Sitabhyam Sitabhihi. Sitayai Sitabhyam Sitabhyah. Sitayaha Sitabhyam Sitabhyah. Sitayaha Sitayoho Sitanam. Sitayam Sitayoho Sitasu. He Site He Site He Sitaha. In school we had done it this way, so this is my habit.
No problem. Both ways are right. Whichever is comfortable, you can do. Ram Ram.
Thank you. Ram Ram.
DM Dharani Jayashri, do you want to try the Halar Shabda?
Yes, ma'am.
Ram Ram. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Pratama vibhakti ekavasanam dvivavasanam
Akarantah.
akarantah napumsakalingah phalashabdah. Pratama vibhakti ekavasanam dvivavasanam bahuvachanam. Ekavasanam phalam phale phalani. He phala he phale he phalani. Phalam phale phalani. Phalena phalabhyam phale phalaihi. Phalayah phalabhyam phalebhyah.
Phalaya. There is no visarga there.
Phalebhyah. Phalat phalabhyam phalebhyah. Phalasya phalayohu phalanam. Phale phalayohu phaleshu.
Uttam. Dhanyavadaha. So these we learned last week. The Rama Shabda, Akarantaha, Pullingaha, Rama Shabda. So initially we have given the general use of the Vibhakti as well, where the Vibhakti is found. Prathama as a subject, the Sambodhana Prathama to address somebody, Dvitiya Vibhakti as the object, primarily, the Tritiya Vibhakti as the instrument, like by and with. Chaturthi is dative, or to whom somebody is given, for whom something is done, or for what. So it is for. Panchami from ablative, which means a separation. And then Shashti is of, it is genitive. And Saptami is located, in, on, etc. So Rama Shabda, Hala Shabda, and they recited the Sita. Rama is a similar Akaranta Strilinga Shabda. So all Akaranta Strilinga Shabdas decline like this. Now the new Shabda that we will be learning is Dakarantaha Pullingaha Tad Shabdaha. We already know the Prathama Vibhakti form, which is Saha, Tau, and Te. So we also saw that the pronouns do not get the Sambodhana Prathama. So there is no form in Sambodhana Prathama. The Dvitiya is Tam, Tau, Tan. Tritiya, Tena, Tabhyam, Taihi. Chaturthi, Tasmai, Tabhyam, Tebhyah. Tasmat, Panchami is Tasmat, Tabhyam, Tebhyah. Shashti, Tasya, Tayoho, Tesham. And Saptami, Tasmin, Tayoho, Teshu. Saha, Tau, Te, Tam, Tau, Tan. Tena, Tabhyam, Taihi. Tasmai, Tabhyam, Tebhyah. Tasmat, Tabhyam, Tebhyah. Tasya tayoho tesham, tasmin tayoho teshu. You can see that it is more or less like the Rama Shabda which you know, and just observe the differences. Saha tau te, it is not taha. So in Ramaha we have a akara and a visarga. Here it is te. Tam tau tan, this is similar. Tena tabhyam taihi, this is also more or less similar. Tasmai, in Rama we had Ramaya, here we have Tasmai. Tabhyam tebhyah, these two are similar. Tasmad tabhyam tebhyah, this is also similar. Tasya tayoho tesham, there we had Ramana, here it is tesham. And tasmin tayoho teshu, for Rama Shabda we had Rame, here it is tasmin. Tasmin is a new word, so note this difference alone. So you can learn the exceptions and it will be easy for you to memorize. So the general requirement is that first you learn the Shabdas which are given in the Ratana portion. So each week focus on these Shabdas which are given for Ratanam, and then the forms which are given under each Vibhakti, just read and practice, and as you use it in exercises you will become familiar with it. And then when we do the Shabdas, those Shabdas also, then you will know them completely. So if you try to memorize them Vibhakti wise, then you may not find it that easy. So learn it Shabda wise. For the Vibhaktis, read it, familiarize yourself with it, and then try to do the exercises. You may even refer to the tables and then do the exercises. That way you'll slowly become familiar, and learning the Shabda fully will become easy for you. So now we are learning them Vibhakti wise. So just don't stress yourself too much with learning those forms as well. Only those which are given for Ratanam, try to memorize, repeat it, either listen to it or repeat it yourself, and then it will become, you will have it by heart. So if somebody wants to read the pulling, this is, sorry. Sahataute pullinga tad shabda. Bhargavi A, you want to read this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
दकारांत पुल्लिंग तद शब्द सह तौ ते तम तौ तान तेन ताभ्याम तेन ताभ्याम तैहि
like Ramaihi, this is Taihi.
Okay, ma'am. तस्मै ताभ्याम तेभ्यः तस्मात् ताभ्यां तेभ्यः तस्य तयोः
Yes.
तेषां
Yes. Tasmin. Yes.
तस्मिन् तयोः तेषु.
उत्तम, बहु उत्तम. धन्यवादः.
धन्यवादः.
Next we will go to the Dakaranta Napumsakalinga Tad Shabda. The Prathama and Dvitiya are different from the Pullinga. The rest are all the same. So if you learn the Prathama and Dvitiya, and Prathama and Dvitiya are also the same. There is no difference between Prathama and Dvitiya for the Napumsakalinga. Tat te tani, tat te tani. Just like how we had Phalam phale phalani, Phalam phale phalani for both Prathama and Dvitiya. Here also the Prathama and Dvitiya are the same. The rest are exactly like the tad of the Pullinga, that is Sahataute. So somebody wants to read, you can raise your hand. Banu Ravichandran.
अकारान्तः नपुंसकलिङ्गः तत् शब्दः तत् ते तानि तत् ते तानि तेन ताभ्यां तैः तस्मै ताभ्यां तेभ्यः तस्मात् ताभ्यां तेभ्यः तस्य तयोः तेषां तस्मिन् तयोः तेषु.
उत्तमम्, धन्यवादः. Now the Strilinga Dakaranta Tad Shabda. Sa te taha, tam te taha, taya tabhyam tabhihi, tasyai tabhyam tabhyah, tasyaha tabhyam tabhyah, tasyaha tayoho tasam, tasyam tayoho tasu. This again is very similar to the Akaranta Strilinga Shabdas. Minor differences like Sitanam, Ramanam, but here it is Tasam and Sitayad, very similar to the Akaranta Strilinga, general Akaranta Strilinga Shabdas. So, somebody wants to read, please raise your hand. DM Dharani Jayashri.
Yes, ma'am.
Ram. Yeah.
Ram.
Dakaranta.
Dakarantah स्त्रीलिङ्गः तत् शब्दः. प्रथमा विभक्ति एकवचनं द्विबवचनं बहुवचनं. सा
द्विवचनं
बहुवचनं. सा ते ताः तां ते ताः तया ताभ्यां ताभिः तस्यै ताभ्यां ताभ्यः तस्याः ताभ्यां ताभ्यः तस्याः तयोः तासां तस्यां तयोः तासु.
उत्तमं, सम्यक्, धन्यवादः. So these are the three new words, the shabdas which we will be learning this week. So try to compare with the known shabdas and see where the differences are, then it will make it easier for you to memorize. So what have we seen so far in vibhaktis? We saw what a vibhakti is. We saw that a noun can have different forms because of the different endings. Basically, every word in Sanskritam has a prakriti and pratyaya part. And there are two types of words which are Subantam and Tingantam. Subantam is a noun, Tingantam is a verb. So for Subantam, the ending is a Sup pratyaya, which is a Vibhakti pratyaya. The other name for it is Vibhakti pratyaya. So by adding the Vibhakti pratyaya, we get the Subantas. What is the use of Vibhakti? Vibhaktis can either be used for pointing out something or somebody. It can be used as a subject. It can be used to represent the relationship with the verb. So the subject, object, all that comes under that category. It can be used to establish the connection with another noun in the sentence, like Etat mama pustakam. Mama is in Shashti and it is establishing or showing the relationship between the pustakam and me. And finally, it is used to represent. When special words are used, you use a particular vibhakti. So certain words or avyayas or certain padas are used in combination with certain vibhaktis only. So there are rules of sentence construction which specify these. We will learn them one by one as and when we see the different vibhaktis. So how many vibhaktis are there and what are they? There are 7 vibhaktis. You know that now you're doing the Shabda Ratanam. You know that there are 7 vibhaktis. The first alone has a subdivision which is called the Sambodhana Prathama. That makes it 8. And they are, what are they? The Prathama, Dvitiya, Tritiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Shashti and Saptami. what do we learn under vibhaktis? Two things you have to learn. One is the rupa and the other is the prayoga. So what the different forms are for each shabda is what we need to know. We also need to know the places where you can use that particular vibhakti. Next, we saw Prathama Vibhakti, and we have already seen the three vachanas of Prathama Vibhakti when we were introduced to the words themselves. So we learned three pullinga shabdas as a sample. That is the Akaranta Rama Shabda, Ikaranta Hari Shabda, and Ukaranta Guru Shabda, based on which you can decline all other Akaranta, Ikaranta, Ukaranta pullinga shabdas. Then we saw Akaranta Strilinga Shabda, which is Sita. Then we learned some new shabdas under Strilinga, like Mati, Nadi or Gauri. Then we learned Chanchu, which is similar to Dhenu, and Vadhu. These are the new endings, that is the Hrasva Ikara Ukara and Dirgha Ikara Ukara Strilinga Shabdas. These we have already learned. These which we learned in the last class. Now we will take a look at, and similarly for Napumsakalinga, we had already learned the Akaranta Shabda, which is Phala. The new Shabdas we learned are the Ikaranta Vari Shabda and Ukaranta Vastu Shabda. So in Prathama, in Pullinga and Napumsakalinga, we have the Akaranta, Ikaranta, Ukaranta Shabdas. And in the Strilinga, we saw the Akaranta, Rasva Ikara Ukara, and Dirgha Ikara Ukara Shabdas. So the new Shabdas that we learned, last class are Mati. In Ekavachanam, Matihi, Dvivachanam, Mati, and Bahuvachanam, Matayaha. Matihi, Mati, Matayaha. For Gauri, it is Ikaranta Shabda. Gauri, Gauryau, Gauryaha. Chanchu, Chanchuhu, Chanchu, Chanchavaha. Now compare the Hrasva Ikara and Hrasva Ukara. They are very similar. And when you use Yakara for E ending, you should use Vakara for U ending. So Chanchu, Chanchuhu, Chanchu, Chanchavaha. Then the Dirgha Ukara and the Dirgha Ikara are also similar in forms. Vadhu, Vadhvau, Vadhvaha. For the Napumsakalinga Vari Shabda, it is Vari, Varini, Varini. And for Vastu, it is Vastu, Vastuni, Vastuni. So these are the Prathama Vibhakti forms. These are the new Shabdas that we learned. So I just thought we can revise it one more time before we proceed. Next we saw the Prathama Vibhakti usage. It is used for pointing out like Saharamaha, Tat Pustakam, Tat Bhavanam, Sa Sita, and so on. Active voice. In active voice, the Kartripadam, the person who is performing the action, or the Karta, is in Prathama Vibhakti. Here we have Balau Kridataha. Two boys are playing, so the action is done by the two boys. So that forms the subject. In passive, the object is in Prathama. That we will see later. It is not for now. Then we saw Sambodhana Prathama Vibhakti. The forms are similar in Dvivachanam and Bahuvachanam. In Ekavachanam, there is a slight difference. And for some Shabdas, even the Ekavachanam may be the same. So in Ekavachanam, Rama Shabda has He Rama, He Ramo, He Ramaha. For Hari Shabda, it is He Hare, He Hari, He Harayaha. And for Guru, it is He Guru, He Guru, He Guravaha. The Sambodhana Prathama for the Strilinga Shabdas are like this. Sita, Akaranta Shabda, it becomes A. Site, Site, Sitaha. Mati, Ikaranta Shabda also it becomes A. Mate, Mati, Matayaha. For Gauri, the Dirgha Ikara becomes Hrasva Ikara. Gauri, Gauryau, Gauryaha. Chanchu, Hrasva Ukara, it becomes Chancho. Chancho, Chanchu, Chanchavaha. For Vadhu, Dirgha Ukara, it is, again it becomes Hrasva. Just like Dirgha Ikara, Dirgha Ukara becomes Hrasva Ukara. Vadhu, Vadhvau, Vadhvaha. These are the Sambodhana Prathama forms. Napumsakalinga, Phala, Phale, Phalani. Phalam becomes Phala in Prathama, Ekavachanam. For Vari, it becomes Vare or Vari itself. Varini, Varini. These two don't change. Vasto, Vastuni. Vasto, Vastu. Vastuni, Vastuni. So there are two forms for the Ukara and Ikara ending Napumsakalinga Shabdas in Sambodhana Prathama. Now the forms, as I told you, the Sambodhana Prathama and Prathama vary only in Ekavachana, and that too only in some words. For Sarvanama Shabdas, there is no Sambodhana Prathama. This also we saw. And the use is to call somebody or to address somebody. Now let us quickly do a revision in the form of an exercise for Sambodhana Prathama. Somebody wants to answer, please raise your hand. Hridya Vipin. Kannan Krishnamurti Mahodaya. Kannan Krishnamurti Mahodaya, you're self-muted. Ram Ram. Ram. Namaste. The first is Gajaha.
Hey
What is
Gaja.
Hey Gaja?
Akaranta Strilinga Shabda. Gaja.
Yes, Gaja.
Parvati. Ikaranta Strilinga Shabda. Parvati. Hey Parvati.
The Dirgha Ikara becomes Hrasva Ikara. Parvati.
Parvati.
Yes.
Bhumihi. Hey Bhumi.
The Hrasva Ikara Strilinga Shabda, what happens? Matihi becomes Mate, right? Hey Mate. So like that, Hey Bhume.
Sorry. Bhumi.
Bhume. Then this is the Hrasva Ikara ending. There are two forms. Yes.
Varini.
The singular alone is enough. Vare and Vari. These are two forms for the singular itself. Then Shambhuhu. It is like which Shabda is it like? Ukaranta Pullinga.
Shambhum.
That is Dvitiya. We need Sambodhana Prathama. Like Guru, we have Shambho. Shambho. Yes. And then Manihi. Manihi. This is a Ikaranta.
This is also Pullinga Shabda. Money.
This is Mane. Like Hare, it becomes Mane. So whether Pullingam or Strilingam, the Hrasva Ikara has A as Sambodhana. Dhanyavadaha Mahodaya.
Thank you.
Samyak. Dhanyavadaha. Krishna Narayan. Krishna Narayan, do you want to try? Yourself.
Namaste. Namaste, Ram. Can you hear me?
Ram. Yes. Kala.
Kala.
Yes. It is Akara.
Is it like Sita? Will it be
Yes, it is very much like
Akara and the Strilinga?
Yes.
So, will it be Kale?
Yes. It is Kale. Like He Site, it is He Kale.
Kale. Govindaha.
Govindaha.
He Govinda.
Very good. Govinda.
Jnanam. Is it like Bhalam?
Yes.
He Jnana.
He Jnana. Uttam.
Janani.
Yes.
Akara and the Strilinga. Ikara and the Strilinga. Yes, Ikara and the Strilinga. It will become the short form Janani.
Excellent. Janani. Like Parvati becomes Parvati. Gauri
Parvati.
becomes Gauri. This is Janani. Okay.
Dhenuhu. Dhenuhu is Ukaranta Strilinga Shabdaha.
Yes.
He Dhenu.
He Dhenu.
He Dhenu.
Like
Dhenu.
He Dhenu. Like Guru only it is. Even though it is Strilinga. He Guru. Here it is He Dhenu.
He Dhenu. Vastu. That is Napumsakalinga.
Correct.
So it will become, it will remain as
Yes.
Vastu or Vasto.
One of the forms is Vastu.
Vastu.
Other
Or
is
Vastu. Vasto.
Like the Pullinga Shabda, Guru becoming Guru, Vastu becomes Vastu.
Vasto.
Even the Ukaranta Strilinga Shabda also becomes Dhenu. So that is one form. The other is Vastu itself. So
Vastu
the
itself.
Sambodhana also can be Vastu. Okay. Uttamam Bhagini. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Now we will enter Dvitiya Vibhakti in accusative case. So the Dvitiya Vibhakti Rupani of the words which you are seeing right now, we will first get familiar with them. They are Rama, Hari, Guru of the Pullinga. The Dvitiya Vibhakti forms are Ramam, Ramau, Raman. This you already know because you know the Rama Shabda. When we learn Hari Shabda, we will learn these two. Just become familiar with it now. Harim, Hari, Hareen. Gurum, Guru, Gurun. So the Prathama forms are Harihi, Hari, Harayaha. The Dvitiya is Harim, Hari, Hareen. For Guru, it is Guru, Guru, Guravaha. And Dvitiya is Gurum, Guru, Gurun. For Strilinga, so that Nakara ending comes only for the Pullinga Shabdas. Raman, Gurun and Hareen. This is the Bahuvachanam Pullinga forms you get Nakara ending. Now the Strilinga Shabdas. Sita, we already know because we know the Rama Shabda or the Sita Shabda itself. Sitam, Site, Sitaha. Only the Ekavachanam differs. Site, Sitaha is the same because in Prathama it is Sita, Site, Sitaha. In Dvitiya it is Sitam, Site, Sitaha. For Mati, it is Matim, Mati, Matihi. Matim, Mati, Matihi. This is again the same ikara. So the dvivachanam form is the same as the prathama. For Gauri, it is Gaurim, Gauryau, Gauri. For Chanchu, which is the Hrasva Ukara ending Strilinga Shabda, Chanchum, Chanchu, Chanchuhu. For Dirgha Ukara, Vadhum, Vadhvau, Vadhuhu. So there is always Dirgha with Visarga at the end for the Strilinga Shabdas. That you can observe and it will help you memorize it better. Next is Napumsakalinga Shabdas. Phalam, Phale, Phalani. There is no difference between Prathama and Dvitiya for Napumsakalinga Shabdas whatsoever. So, Phalam, Phale, Phalani. And for the Ikara, Vari Shabda, Vari, Varini, Varini. And for Ukara, Vastu, Vastuni, Vastuni. So, these are the forms. Then we have the Sarvanama Shabdas. For Asmad Shabda, we saw Aham, Avam, Vayam is the Prathama Vibhakti. In Dvitiya, there are two forms. You should know both the forms because in some places they would have used the first form and in some the other form. So you should be able to recognize it. Asmad has in Dvitiya, Mam or Ma, Avam, Nau, Asman, Naha. Mam, Ma, Avam, Nau, Asman, Naha. For Yushmat, it is Tvam, Tva, Yuvam, Va, Yushman, Vaha. Tvam, Tva, Yuvam, Va, Yushman, Vaha. Again, for the Pullinga Tat Shabda, Sahataute is Prathama, Tam Tautan is Dvitiya. We saw this because we saw in Ratanam all the three lingas, right, of Tat Shabda. So we know Tam, Tau and Tan. The Strilinga Tat Shabda has Tam, Te, Taha. And Napumsakalinga Tat, Te, Tani, which is the same as the Prathama. In Strilinga, Sa, Te, Taha becomes Tam, Te, Taha. Only the Ekavachanam differs. In Napumsakalingam, all the three remain the same in Dvitiya as well, which is Tat, Te, Tani. Next, we have the Etad Shabda, which is very similar to the Tad Shabda. So, Eshaha Etau Ete becomes Etam Etau Etan for Pullinga. Then for Strilinga, Esha Ete Etaha becomes Etam Ete Etaha. If you notice here, it is exactly the same as the Tad Shabda, except that you're adding A in the beginning everywhere. So, Tam Tau Tan, Tam Te Taha, Tat Te Tani was for Tat Shabda. Etam Etau Etan, Etam Ete Etaha, Etat Ete Etani are for Etad Shabda. So the Napumsakalinga has Etat Ete Etani, which is the same as the Prathama also. Etat Ete Etani, Etat Ete Etani. So Strilinga again, only the Ekavachanam differs. Esha Ete Etaha becomes Etam Ete Etaha. Next we saw the Idam Shabda. For Idam, Ayam becomes Imam. Ayam, Imau, Ime becomes Imam, Imau, Iman. For Strilinga, Iyam, Ime, Imaha becomes Imam, Ime, Imaha. And for Napumsakalingam, Idam, Ime, Imani. Idam, Ime, Imani is the same as Prathama Vibhakti. These are the Tritiya Vibhakti Rupani. You can memorize them along with the Shabdas when we learn the Shabdas. Just now become familiar with this. That's all. Then Kim Shabda again is like the Tat Shabda. Kam Kau Kan, Kam Ke Kaha, Kim Ke Kani. So for the Pullinga, the Prathama was Kaha Kau Ke. For Dvitiya, it is Kam Kau Kan. For Strilinga, it was Ka Ke Kaha. Now it is Kam Ke Kaha. Only the Ekavachanam differs. For the Napumsakalingam, Kim kekani, kim kekani. It's the same. It's the same as the Prathama Vibhakti. Now, let us try to do an exercise with the Dvitiya Vibhakti forms. So somebody wants to answer, please raise your hand. Meenakshi Venkatraman.
Namaste, Mahodaya.
Ram Ram, namaste.
Vrikshaha,
Yes.
Akaranta Pullingaha, Vriksham.
Yes. Vriksham. Super. Excellent.
Site, Akaranta Strilingaha, Sita,
Yes.
Sitam.
This is
Sitam.
which vachana? Can you
This is
recognize the vachana?
Sambodhana. Hey Site.
Ah, that is Sambodhana. I have given you only the Prathama Vibhakti forms.
Yeah.
And Site comes in Prathama Vibhakti of Sita Shabda. In which vachanam?
Ekavachanam.
In Ekavachanam, it is Sita. In Dvivachanam, it is
Site. Yeah. Site.
yeah, Site. So it is Dvivachanam. Sita, Site, Sitaha. So when you're in doubt, you recite the entire, all the three vachanas, then you will be sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So for
Site.
this Dvivachanam, how does the Dvitiya Vibhakti form change?
It's the same, Site.
Excellent. It's the same. So Site remains Site.
Site. Yeah.
Yes.
Udyanani, Udyanam Bahuvachanam stays
Yes.
the same, Udyanani.
Excellent. Udyanani. Gajau.
Gajau, Gajaha, Dvivachanam.
Yes.
Dvitiya Vibhakti is also Gajau.
Fantastic. Gajau. Lataha.
Lataha, Lata Bahuvachanam.
Yes.
Again stays the same, Lataha.
Lataha.
Mala, Ekavachanam. Malam will be the Dvitiya.
Uttam. Uttam. Uttamam bhagini. Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavadaha.
Mohana Valambe, do you want to try the next set?
Ram Ram. Tam.
Sa becomes ta. Yes. In Pullinga, there is a te. In which vachana?
That is Bahuvachana. Bahuvachana. Tan. Tan.
So it is like Raman, it is Tan. Okay.
Kaha. 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 Ka. Kim. Strilinga vachana. Bahuvachana. So.
Excellent.
Strilinga
Bahuvachana.
It will remain Kaha.
It will remain Kaha. Uttama.
Tat te tani. So this is tat is ekavachana. Tat will remain tat.
Excellent. That in Napumsakalingam, it is the same.
Same.
Prathama and Dvitiya are same.
Tau will remain tat. Saha tau. Tau will remain tau. It is Dvitiya vachanaha Pullinga Shabda.
Yes. Can you tell me all the three vachanas of Dvitiya in Pullinga?
Okay. Saha tau.
Tat shabda.
Tat. Okay. Tat te tani. But this is saha tau te bhagini.
Yes.
So this will become tam tau tan.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Bhagini, I have to repeat everything in my head, then only I can get it. It's like
everyone, it's the same for everyone, don't worry. So you
takes a
repeat it
little
aloud.
time.
Don't feel bad about repeating it aloud, so that the others will also listen and learn.
Ete, ete will be.
See, this is the Prathama form. So
Prathama,
you know
etat,
the
etat, ete, etani. It will
correct.
be etat, ete, etani.
Yes. So it is ete because in Napumsaka you don't even have to think; it will remain the same. Dhanyavadaha.
Dhanyavada, Bhumi.
Now we'll see where the Dvitiya Vibhakti is used. The first use is as the object. We already saw that Dvitiya Vibhakti is primarily used to indicate the object of the sentence. This object in Sanskritam is called the karma padam or the karma, just the karma. If we say karma, it refers to the object. There we use the Dvitiya Vibhakti. So there are some sentences in the textbook, which we will see now, which show the Dvitiya Vibhakti being used as the object. Ramaha pathan pathati. So here, Ramaha is the subject. It is in Prathama. Pathaha is Dvitiya. Pathaha is Dvitiya Bahuvachanam. And Pathan is Dvitiya Bahuvachanam. Pathaha is the Prathama Ekavachanam. And Pathan is the Dvitiya Bahuvachanam. So, Pathaha, Pathau, Pathaha, Patham, Pathau, Pathan, just like Rama Shabda. So, Pathan is again in Dvitiya Vibhakti. So, the meaning of the sentence is Rama reads the lessons. So, Pathan is Dvitiya because it is the object. Janaha Devam Namanti. People worship God. Whom do the people worship? God. So here it answers the question whom. So it is the object. So Devam is in Dvitiya. Devaha becomes Devam. Janakaha Balau Poshayati. The father nourishes or takes care of the two boys. So here Balau is the object. Whom does the father take care of? The two boys. So here it answers the question whom. So it is object and so it is in Dvitiya. Balaha balo balaha, balam balo balan. Gajaha jalam pibati. The elephant drinks water. The subject is the elephant, so it is in Prathama. Jalam is what it drinks, so it is in Dvitiya. For Napumsakalingam, which is Jalam is a Napumsakalinga word. So Jalam, Jale, Jalani. And again Jalam, Jale, Jalani for Dvitiya as well. So it is Jalam itself. Gajaha, Jalam, Pibati. Te Ashwan Pashyanti. Ashvaha, Akaranta Pullinga. For Dvitiya Bahuvachanam, Ashwan. What do they see? They see the horses. Tvam Acharyam Namasi. You salute the teacher. So you are the doer of the action. So that is in Prathama. And the person who is to whom you are offering your salutations is the Acharya. So Acharyam Namasi. Ripaha Janan Rakshati. So for Acharya, I'll tell you the forms. Acharya, Acharyau, Acharyaha. Dvitiya will be Acharyam, Acharyau, Acharyan. Nripaha, Janan. Similarly, Akaranta, Bahuvachana, Dvitiya Vibhakti word, which is Janan, is the people. The king protects the people. Nripaha is the king. This is the subject. Janan is the object. So it is in Dvitiya Bahuvachana. They are plural. Janan is many people, so it is in plural. Rakshati, you know, he protects. Aham chitram pashyami. I see a picture. Chitram is Napumsakalinga. So the Prathama is Chitram, Chitre, Chitrani. Dvitiya Vibhakti is also Chitram, Chitre, Chitrani. Now I will stop here. We just have 5 more minutes. I will take the questions, and if time permits, we'll go to this section. Otherwise, we'll complete Dvitiya Vibhakti in the next class. What is Prathama Vibhakti for Vadhu? Vadhu? Vadhu, Vadhu, Vadhu. In the sentence, Mayuraha Kakaucha, whether it is okay, I think Vidya Subramaniam, you can email me. It's a long question. I will reply to you by email. Okay, so I have learned it in the vertical order. Can I still learn it that way? Yes, whichever order is comfortable for you, you can learn it in that way. Can you explain with a Vibhakti Shlokam? Yeah, we will take up that Shlokam again in the next class and we will revise it. I thought I will do it once after we have learned all the Vibhaktis. In the 7th Vibhakti, what is the rule for Sa and Shra? So, this rule you will learn later. For now, you just learn the forms. So, the Sakara and Shakara, Sitasu, whereas it is Rameshu. So, you have to just learn the forms for now. In 2nd Vibhakti Bahuvachanam, what is the rule for Na and Na? In 2nd Vibhakti, you will not find the Nakara. Even for Rama, it is Raman only. The Nakara only comes. It is not the Tavarga Nakara is not used. So in Dvitiya Vibhakti, that's not a problem. In Tritiya, it is Ramena. Whereas for Deva Shabda, it will be Devena. The difference is because, as I told you, when there is a Repa or Rkara or a Shakara, you will find a Nakara and Nakara. That is not always the case. For example, in Raman, you still find Nakara. But when there is a Repa, you have to watch out if you have to change it to a Nakara. You have to be careful about that. The Napumsaka Linga slide. Yes, it will be uploaded so you can have a look at it and write it at that time. How do you say 7 Vibhakti? Sapta Vibhaktaya. Vibhakti is like the Mati Shabda. So, Matihi, Mati, Matayaha. So, like that, you have Sapta Vibhaktayaha. Tad Shabda. All these slides will be put up in the course page, so you can take it down at that time. Sambodhana Vibhakti for Phala, isn't it? He Phala. It is Phala, not Phal. Harim, Gurun, here also it is only Nakara at the end. So that's the correct observation. So it is not a hard and fast rule that whenever Repa comes, you have to immediately change it into Nakara. So certain places this may not happen. There are a lot of grammar rules for that, which we will learn at a much later stage. Now you just learn the forms. The Dvitiya Vibhakti forms, you read them once, try to use them in the exercises, because as homework I will be giving you some exercises. Today maybe we cannot have the homework because we have not completed Dvitiya Vibhakti yet. Once we complete that, you will try these things. For the next class, just read these forms once and come so that you are familiar. What is the meaning of idam? Idam is this. We already saw in Sarvanama Shabdas, right? So when something is close by, we use idam. The exercise is based on the forms that we saw in class today. It is okay if you don't remember them. You can go and read them. And once we learn the Shabdas completely, that is, for Tat Shabda, we will be learning all the Vibhaktis, right? You can learn it Shabda wise. That way, you will remember the forms well. Why don't we interchange the verb and the object? Ramaha. No, generally the order is subject, object, and verb. So that is the conventional order that is followed. In Sanskritam, we are not very particular about the order, but still there is a convention. What is the easy way is to memorize all the Shabdas. It is only by repetition. So for now, the only focus for you should be on the Rama Shabda, Rama Shabda, and Phala Shabda in the nouns. And for the Sarvanama, the Tat Shabda, the three lingas. The other things you just read and try to use them in exercises as and when they come. Vibhakti, definitely it will be uploaded. So today's class, we learned a lot of words, I understand. Many of you might feel, oh my God, there is so much to memorize. Don't feel bogged down. Learn only the Shabdas which are meant for Ratanam for now. The other Shabdas, just read again and again and become familiar. When you use it in, when we learn the full Shabda forms, at that time you will be able to memorize it better. So for the next class, what you should be ready with is the three Shabdas which we learned, and then go through the Dvitiya Vibhakti forms. The Prathama, Sambodhana, and Dvitiya Vibhakti. These three forms, just go through and make a note of where the differences are if possible. If you don't know it by heart, there is no problem. Eventually, when you learn the Shabdas, you will learn it by heart. I'm saying this again and again because initially it might seem very daunting. Vadhuhu, correct. Vadhuhu, vadvau, vadvaha. I did not understand Dvitiya Vibhakti. Can you explain it once again? Dvitiya Vibhakti is used when the noun is being used as the object. In most cases, the object of the sentence is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. So for that, there are different forms for different Shabdas, which we are learning one by one. So those were the questions. If you remember, we had skipped a page in lesson 10. I think it was page 32. So you can go through the sentences in that lesson. You can also familiarize yourself with the three Pullinga Shabdas, Rama, Guru, Hari, the 5 Strilinga Shabdas, that is Sita, Mati, Gauri, then Chanchu or Dhenu, and Vadhu. These are the 5 Strilinga Shabdas, and Phalam, Phala, Vari and Vastu. These are the Napumsakalinga Shabdas. So for these Dvitiya Vibhakti forms, as well as for the Sarvanama Shabdas, just read them once. You don't have to strain yourself beyond that. You just have one day in between. So just try to learn the Tat Shabda, the Pullinga, Strilinga and Napumsakalinga by heart. That will be the homework for today. Let us stop here with the Mangala Shloka. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhanyavadaha. Shubharatri.